Okay, this is the second part. I've had to split this up into two because it's likely that this part will encounter some copyright issues. So we'll see how we get on. Now, Andrew Benson is projecting that Fernando Alonso is some kind of supreme talent of the sport. Now, the first part of this explores Fernando Alonso's career and why it is that Andrew Benson would be trying to project Fernando Alonso as such. So this is Andrew Benson's words, and it's talking about the Formula One drivers adapting to the new cars this season for the 2026 season. And Andrew Benson says the early word is that the drivers who have the most spare mental capacity when driving, the likes of Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso, for example, will have an advantage. So that is the projection, that for some reason Fernando Alonso has got more mental capacity. He's got more spare mental capacity than the other people on the grid. You know, him and Max, they've got more. That makes them better, more intelligent. Now, I don't know why you're doing that, Andrew. You're doing that to boost the image of certain people and downplay the achievements and the image of others. There's a guy on the grid with a far better competitive record in the sport than Fernando Alonso, and yet you happen to list Fernando Alonso as being one of these people with the supreme talent because he's got the most spare mental capacity. I don't know why you'd do that unless you're serving an agenda. So what we're going to do, if we follow this through with Fernando being so talented and so having so much mental capacity when he's driving, that would mean that he knows what's going on. He's basically able to calculate his own strategies, see how things are unfolding, because he's got the mental capacity to do that. If he's got the mental capacity to adapt to the demands of driving a new car and what they are in terms of the new controls for it and things like that, because he's got this most spare mental capacity, you'd think that that would translate to having the mental capacity to understand what was going on in an unfolding situation. So we'll take a look at this. We'll take a look at a guy with so much knowledge, having had the career that he's had, and let's just put this into context. This is Fernando Alonso's career record. He had 2 seasons where he missed the sport, where he went over and competed in IndyCar, did he not? And Le Mans. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In the 10 of, it was over a 12-year period, 10 seasons competing in Formula 1, didn't win a race in those 10 seasons. We have to go all the way back to 2013 for his last race victory. But in 2021, when he was performing for the Alpine team, he's there. So at that point in time, he'd had all that previous experience, all the way back here, and you go above that. Prior to the 4 years at Ferrari, he was at McLaren, and he finished behind Lewis Hamilton in that season. Prior to that, he was at the Alpine team, Renault team they were called back then. And prior to that, he hadn't really done a lot. So, this is Fernando Alonso, but he's got this experience. Started in Formula 1 in 2001. On the grid at the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, I believe he was the second most experienced driver behind Kimi Raikkonen. Now, Raikkonen retired, making him the most experienced running competitor. We see Nicholas Latifi crash. Now, we're going to explore what Fernando Alonso knew with his spare mental capacity in these closing stages of the race. Latifi's about to crash here. We're going to go on board with Fernando Alonso coming through turn 8. So what we'll just do is we'll play this.
Those slight regulation changes.
Wow, that feels like a long time.
The blue dot has become stationary, which means, oh no, Nicholas Latifi has crashed at that moment there. there's a lag from the commentary team, but we'll go to Fernando's in-car camera. So, this is Fernando. Oh no, Nicholas Latifi has crashed. So, at some point, you would think his race engineer will communicate that to him because Fernando won't know. He's driving around this section of the track. Okay, I mean, even as much as the spare mental capacity that he might have, he's not telepathic. So, let's you need to inform him of these things. Let's have a look.
Safety car window is closed. Got a double.
Safety car window is closed is the first bit of information that he gets. All right, first bit of information that he gets. Not the fact that there's a car crashed. All right, not that. It's safety car window closed.
Yellow after turn 14. Latifi crashed it.
So he gets informed. Yellow at turn 14, Latifi's crashed, and he must be also getting through the notification it's going to be safety car because we can see him significantly decelerate.
Okay, safety car, and we're staying out.
Now that is a strange order to be given the instructions. Okay, surely you would think if there's an incident, the first thing you'd do to radio your driver is saying, yellow flags, there's an incident on track. You know, there's a car stationary on the track. You would think that would be the first thing you'd want to say to your driver. The second thing you might want to follow it up is because the drivers do know, especially Fernando is that experienced, they do know that if there's going to be such a situation, a yellow situation where the cars are moving slower, whether that be just yellow flags, whether that be virtual safety car, whether that be safety car, teams seek to capitalise on that situation when the cars are moving slower to take a pit stop. So then, after you'd inform your driver of the danger on the track, you would then inform your driver of your intentions regarding pitting them. But he's been informed, safety car window closed first. Strange.
Okay, so watch out.
So he is coming around the crash site, around turn 14. He's getting a radio message now. He would have received this message probably about 4 seconds before we're hearing it now. All right. So he'd be told before he actually comes around the corner, watch out as you go around that corner because there's a car on the outside of the track. This is approximately what will be being communicated to him. Okay. He'll see Latifi's car there, which has just crashed this amount of 15, 20 seconds before now. So he's now seeing that crash coming up on that crash site about 15 seconds, 20 seconds after the crash. Might be a little bit longer, but this is the first time on the scene for Alonso.
Put debris on the outside of 14. Okay, so make sure we're recharge on. I'm going to go forwards on brake belt.
So being the experienced driver that he is, as they will all know, because if you're competing in Formula 1, you know how these things work. Safety car. Right. What's the situation, Fernando? Well, you know that you will drive to your delta, which will appear on your dash, the minimum times of arrival at certain marshalling points around the track. Then, after a certain period of time, about a lap and a bit or whatever it is, they don't have to drive for the delta, but what they'll end up doing is catching the car that's in front of them, and then they have to stay in that snake of cars. Now that snake of cars will be the safety car, then the leader, and the other cars competing, but in the order that they're on the track, which is not the race order, because lapping has taken place. The way that the situation will unfold is this this collection of the cars, this bunching of the cars, this slowing down of the cars is done for the purpose of trying to make things on track safe and enable a period of time, a window with which to make it safer for people to be on the track, clearing that car away, clearing the debris away, making sure the track is safe. Part of making the track safe is making sure the surface of the track is safe and making sure any crash barriers that may have been impacted are also safe to perform their job again. Once the track has been declared safe, then they carry out the mandatory procedure prior to the race resuming. And that mandatory procedure is to unravel what has now impacted the drivers in the race. From being in a position where Fernando Alonso is able to compete with the car that's in front of him, which I believe could be, let's have a look. I think it was Norris directly in front of him. Let's have a look. Yeah, Norris directly in front of him. And in front of Norris is Gasly. And then in front of Gasly, Tsunoda. You've neutralised the race, so you've got to reset it so that on the resumption of that race, Alonso can challenge Norris, and Norris can challenge Gasly, and Gasly can challenge Tsunoda, just in the same way that you've got Hamilton here, and racing's been neutralised, it gets reset, so second place Verstappen can challenge Hamilton, and third place Sainz can challenge Verstappen. This is the way it works. So there's a mandatory procedure whereby once the track is declared safe, the mandatory procedure of the unlapping is done, and when that procedure is carried out, then and only then can we resume racing. You cannot resume with lapped cars in situ, and there is a reason. When this has played out and when these cars have bunched, Pierre Gasly, from being there, disappears all the way off around the track, and he's now at the back of this safety car snake, essentially leaving Norris, Alonso, Ocon, Leclerc, all of them cars that have been lapped by the leader are now a lap down on Pierre Gasly, right? And they weren't a lap down on Pierre Gasly, essentially a lap down. Obviously, Gasly hasn't lapped him because he's not passed them, but he's right on their backside, isn't he? So they've lost all that time to Pierre Gasly. So it's a mandatory procedure. You can't resume that race without carrying out that procedure due to the impact it's had on all of those competitors. Fernando Alonso will know that. He's competed in that sport for all that length of time since the 2021 season. Yes, he had 2 seasons out, but he's the second most experienced driver on that grid. He has been there for the reintroduction of these regulations when they were reintroduced at the beginning of the 2012 season. He will have experienced that both as a lapped car where he's had to unlap and where he has not been lapped but seen these lapped cars released past him to actually achieve that. So he knows. And as Andrew Benson will tell you, Fernando is one of these drivers with the most spare mental capacity. This is the basics for Fernando. So, knowing that Fernando knows that, let's look at how Fernando treats this safety car window. When the computer catches up, which we'll get there, I hope. Still buffering.
Got 5 laps remaining, including this one.
Okay, standard. Right, so he's on lap 54, and this is turn 5 on lap 54.
Copy.
I think we need to unlap ourselves, or
I think we need to unlap ourselves. What's he doing? What's he doing? This is somebody that is an experienced competitor in this sport. Now, when you're an experienced competitor in a sport and something happens, you know what the crack is. You know, okay, there's a crashed car. I've just passed this crashed car. I've seen it with my own eyes on the track. And I've been told by my race engineer that there's also debris there that I've got to look out for. You know that this is going to take several laps to sort out. You know that for sure. That doesn't get dealt with within a lap. You know it. You also know that this whole procedure that they carry out happens in a step-by-step process. You know that the safety car is deployed, everybody slows down, the cars start to bunch, they then begin the recovery operation, the removal of the car, and the unlapping procedure. That all takes quite a number of laps. He has experienced all that in his career. When you've experienced it in your career multiple times, you get a feel for how long these things take. If you are actually calculated, you actually will do the data to say, yeah, this is about 5 laps. It's actually about 5.5 laps on average that these things take. He knows that. If he's that intelligent, because he's got so much spare mental capacity, he knows that. Yet not even a lap after he's passed that scene, he's suggesting they should unlap. This is about where Alonso was at the point where Nicholas Latifi crashed on the previous lap. So coming round there again.
I think we need to unlap ourselves, or what do we do?
Not yet.
I think we need to unlap ourselves, or what do we do? Now, you would think that somebody with the most spare mental capacity would know the rules of the sport and would know the procedure. You'd know what had to happen, and you'd know the point in time whereby you'd be looking for when this procedure would be happening. Firstly, you would look each time you pass there, what's going on? Have they removed the car yet? Does it look like there's marshals on the track sweeping away any debris? Are we getting close to this point where the race director is going to give us the instruction to do the unlapping? But no, we don't get any of that from Fernando. We get this.
I think we need to unlap ourselves, or what do we do?
Or what do we do? Or what do we do? What the one with the most mental capacity doesn't know how this is going to play out. Strange, isn't it? Strange that the most experienced guy left in the field doesn't know.
Not yet. Let's wait for race control to give that instruction.
Not yet, Fernando. Like you don't know, Fernando. Which would indicate one of two things. Either Fernando Alonso is not as intelligent as Andrew Benson is trying to make out, and Fernando Alonso is quite thick because he's been in the sport that long, experienced it that many times, and yet still hasn't worked out what needs to happen. Okay? That would indicate a level of retardation. Okay? But no, it's not that, is it? What is it? It's what did you know, Fernando? What did you know? What meetings and sub-meetings had you been party to prior to this event taking place? What did you know in terms of the plan for the resumption of this race, the outcome of this race, the setting up of the last lap shootout, Fernando? What did you know?
Also got double waved yellow turn 11, so just a bit up the road ahead. Not sure what that is. And still the double waved yellow turn 14 as well.
So remember, this is lap 54 of 58. 4 laps remaining. The way that this safety car situation would have to unfold in order for there to be a resumption of racing is that by the end of lap 56, the lapped cars must be released, so that lap 57 can be the lap afforded to those released cars with which to try to make it around the track and catch the back of the field. That's the only way that they can then go racing on lap 58. If the lapped cars cannot be released prior to the end of lap 56, it means that this is a safety car finish. Again, Fernando Alonso should be aware of that as the most experienced driver left running in this field, with all of his level of expertise as an experienced driver with such spare mental capacity. So, what does Fernando know? Well, what he now knows is what he can see, and that is the crash car, which he witnessed the previous lap, is still there, having not been touched. There is not a crane on track, and what has happened is there's a load of white powder there now that wasn't there previously. And what that would then make you understand is that that white powder has come from a fire extinguisher. That car has caught fire, and the fire has needed to be extinguished before they can do anything with it. This is going to take a bit longer than what others might take, Fernando, because this has just extended the recovery operation in having to deal with what is unfolding, which is what happens in Formula One. If a car catches fire, you can't just go and pick it up with a crane and carry it off with it still on fire. No, you have to deal with the fire. We know this. You'd think with his excess enhanced mental capacity, Fernando would know that as well.
Yeah, we should unlap and get the job done until
We should unlap and get this job done. What is this job, Fernando? You know, you've got the spare mental capacity to understand that there's a job being done here. We should unlap and get this job done. Now, what are we talking about, Fernando?
Yeah, we should unlap and get the job done until they retire the car, because if not, it's gonna be too late.
We should unlap and get this job done before they retire the car. Now, this could be a language thing in translation. Retire the car. Does Fernando mean till they remove the car, remove Nicholas Latifi's car off track? Does he actually mean what he said? Until they retire the car. Now, which car got retired? Well, the car that got retired was Sergio Perez's car. If you're talking about a car that got retired, how would he know that Perez's car is going to get retired? What does the retirement of Perez's car mean? Well, it means that Red Bull cannot win the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull essentially ensure that Mercedes cannot be beaten to first place in that championship. Job done.
Yeah, we should lap and get the job done until they retire the car. Because if not, it's going to be too late.
Because if not, it's going to be too late. Too late for what, Fernando? Too late for what? For a resumption of racing? What does the resumption of racing mean to you, Fernando? What does it mean to your World Championship? You see, if we go through Fernando Alonso's World Championship, is Fernando Alonso competing in 2021 to for an enhanced position in the championship that's going to impact his career? Is he desperate for his finishing position at Abu Dhabi? Let's have a look. Sorry, let's enlarge this. The 2021, there he is, retired there in Bahrain, finished 10th, finished 8th, finished 17th, 13th, 6th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 7th, 4th, 11th in the Belgian parade, 6th, 8th, 6th, 16th, retired, 9th, 3rd in Qatar, 13th in Saudi, 8th in Abu Dhabi, finishing 10th on 81 points. Now, what can we do here? Can we have a look at the 2021 season? See how close he was to changing position that season. Let's have a look. Because he seems keen before it's too late. How does this impact Fernando? Results. Oh, that's the results of the race. Result of all the Grand Prix. Championship standings. 10th position, 81 points, and he is 19 points behind 9th place Pierre Gasly. He is 7 points ahead of teammate Esteban Ocon. He's ahead of Esteban Ocon in this race. So any resumption of racing gives rise to his teammate overtaking him in the race, gaining more points, but that's not going to affect his championship. He's still going to finish ahead of Esteban Ocon. What he's not going to do from 8th position in those closing stages of the race is gain on the 19 points that he ultimately finishes behind Pierre Gasly. He is not going to overtake that. Therefore, what is Fernando Alonso's urgency and desire of before it's too late? Doesn't affect his championship, does it? It does not affect Fernando Alonso's championship. So why is this knowledgeable individual?
Yeah, we should lap and get the job done until they retire the car. Because if not, it's going to be too late.
What meetings and sub-meetings have you been party to, Fernando? If not, it'll be too late. Is this the all the teams and the drivers have agreed to a racing finish? They've agreed to a racing finish. Oh, if they don't unlap us, it'll be too late for that. Is that what it is, Fernando? They need to unlap us, otherwise it'll be too late, says Fernando. But he's doing it at a time where you're not allowed to do that because it's not safe to do that. But he's urging them to do that because of his knowledge. So what is this indicating? This is indicating the presence of the fact that they've had, I say fact, it's indicating that these meetings that Martin tells us that they have, and this agreement that they're supposed to have agreed to, which they're not allowed to agree to, has taken place. And the drivers are somehow aware of this desire to make sure it's a racing finish. But Fernando is already urging them, oh, it's going to be too late. And why does he think it's going to be too late? Because he knows what these situations are like. He's experienced them before, hasn't he? So, we are now entering lap 55. We've just passed the scene on 54. We're now entering lap 55. So it's this lap and the next one, which are the key ones. The incident has to be cleared and the cars released so that all of those 8 cars that have been lapped have passed that safety car prior to starting lap 57. Fernando Alonso knows that.
Yeah, copy that.
I mean, they need to start the procedure now, so meanwhile they retire the car.
They need to start the procedure now. No, Fernando, that's not allowed because you've just passed that scene of the crash. You've just seen that there is the car still on the road. You put the safety car out to bunch the cars to create a safe window to retrieve that car, and that car is still there. And Fernando is suggesting, well, just let us go now. No, this is safety, Fernando. You don't release the cars to let the cars go speeding off around the track to regain that lap that are in the process of losing now on Gasly before this car is recovered. This is the process, Fernando.
Pick up the car and then we're ready to go.
And then we're ready to go. Why is Fernando so keen to be ready to go? That's the desire of the sport. What does it mean to Fernando? Just playing his part, isn't he? You see, in terms of Fernando's championship, it means nothing to it. With this being a safety car finish, it means that his teammate will not overtake him in that championship. But even if the race restarted, the chance of Fernando Alonso gaining positions in that championship is minimal. The greater threat is him losing position in the championship to his teammate. So the safety car finish, it's if anything, the race not resuming is the safer option for him. There's less jeopardy with that.
I mean, they need to start the procedure now, so meanwhile they retire the car, they pick up the car and then we're ready to go.
We don't do the unlapping procedure while there's still a crane on the track, Fernando. Okay, you would have competed in the sport in 2014 when Jules Bianchi was in an incident whereby he went off the track and into a crane that was off the track. And you're also aware of the evolution of safety procedures to try to guard against such a thing happening again. And that evolution of these procedures has happened during your career. You've lived it. And this is what he's suggesting. So you can see what Fernando can see. You can see the safety car, you can see Lewis Hamilton, and you can see Lando Norris. All right. Fernando Alonso should be aware of his position in that race. He is currently in 8th position. He's currently in 9th until Perez retires. So he knows his race engineer should be informing him this. Knows he's in a point scoring position. He also knows how many points you get for finishing in that position. He also knows that Lando Norris is on fresher tyres. So should it be a restart, Lando Norris is in a faster car because that McLaren was running in 4th prior to this phantom slow puncture that McLaren supposedly had. But now Lando's in a faster car on faster tyres, right? So relative to the car in front of him, it's not as though it's a big advantage to Alonso. And really, the threat is being overtaken by a teammate. Not really the chance of gaining much. He'll also find out probably is that the other cars ahead of Lando Norris do pit, do go on to fresh soft compound tyres, again minimising any chance of Alonso gaining positions on any kind of restart. So why is a restart so important to Fernando?
Okay, we're going to soon do some brake and tyre warming. Got margin for that. Front tyres are a bit more weaving and all of those sides, so we can do a bit more weaving.
Okay, so this is on lap 55. This is ahead of Fernando. You can see the crane removing Latifi's car. So we know from Fernando Alonso's point of view, he will be able to see the crane. He will know that he's completing lap 55. He will know that that crane will have to take the time to get off the track. And then the procedure will also be any debris that's still there needs to be swept. The barriers need to be checked, and then race control. Once the clerk of the course has radioed back to race control, they will then give the instruction to the lapped cars that to now perform this procedure. Track has been declared safe. Now we do the unlapping. You can see what's going on here, but he knows that it's still not in a position to actually release the lapped cars yet, because there's still things that need to be done. And what he's just seen is the white powder that's on the track. There. He will see that that is the white powder. So the crane has picked the car up, but the powder remains. He will know that the impact that that powder on track has on grip levels, and the fact that they will need to sweep that prior to the track being declared safe. He will know that. There needs to be marshals on the track doing that sweeping. Hence, you have to give them the time to do the sweeping. You can't just release cars to go herring off around the track to catch the back of the pack with there still being marshals on track sweeping. They have to be clear of that.
So at the end of this lap there will be 3 laps remaining.
Yeah, come on. Let's unlap the guys. And next lap is going to be in 2 laps time.
Next lap is going to be... Is that edited? Does he stop himself? Or was it edited too late? Did they cut out too late? He's urging the unlapping. He's urging the unlapping when he's just passed the scene again, knowing it's still not safe to do the unlapping, and yet he's urging it. Now, this has been utilised by the media as a notion of all the drivers were confused. They were all saying that they had to unlap, and the confusion in race control, nobody knew. Well, this is the actual thing when you just spell it out, what's really happening.
Yeah, come on. Let's unlap the guys. And next lap is green, or in 2 laps time.
Or in 2 laps time. Or in 2 laps time. What are you talking about? Or in 2 laps time. You said, oh, we need to do it before it's too late. Come on, we need to unlap now. Or in 2 laps time. What's in 2 laps time, Fernando? So this is a completion of lap 55. We're just about to start on to lap 56. Crucial lap. Unlapping has to take place on lap 56. If it doesn't, it will be a safety car finish. Now, ahead is the safety car, Hamilton Norris. It's around about now that we start getting messages regarding the initial instruction to unlap and then that being reversed.
Okay, so he's not going to allow us to unlap ourselves.
He's not going to allow us to unlap ourselves. Now that is a strange instruction. It's a strange instruction because ultimately the track is still being cleared. I've done the other videos. We can cut to Latifi's car camera and you'll see that there's marshals still on the track right at this moment in time sweeping the track. To those of you that might be your first video that you're watching of mine, we'll show you. There's Latifi's car camera. This is the marshals moving the car that's on the track. As it pans round, there are the marshals there on the track still sweeping. Hence, you do not release the lapped cars yet until the clerk of the course declares the track safe. So therefore, it's not safe because there's marshals still on there. We go back to Alonso. And we'll just go back 10 seconds. You can see just 10 seconds so that we repeat that conversation that I've just clicked away from.
Not going to allow us to unlap ourselves.
Understood.
Ha ha ha. Understood. What are you laughing at, Fernando? And what have you understood? You have just passed, when you went round there the previous time, you've passed the crane removing the car. The debris hasn't been swept fully at this stage. You know that there's white powder on there that wasn't swept when you passed it. It's not that long ago, and you're just being told he's not going to let us unlap himself, and you laugh and say, understood. You also know that the procedure is the track has to be declared safe. What is the chance of the track being declared safe? Why are you communicating in this way, Fernando, with your excess mental capacity, the spare mental capacity that he's got?
Okay, so we got Verstappen in P2 is about 4 cars behind you.
Verstappen in P2 is about 4 cars behind you. Now, why is Fernando Alonso's race engineer communicating that to Fernando Alonso? What is Fernando Alonso's race? Well, Fernando Alonso's race is Lando Norris in front of him and his teammate Esteban Ocon behind him. If we're focusing on Fernando Alonso's race, each of these drivers is in a Formula One race, right? They're all driving that race, and what they should be concerned about is where they're going to finish in that race. Yeah, because that's what you see in every other race, isn't it? Do they always ask, well, where's Max in this race? Doesn't matter, does it? Who are you racing? Oh, you're currently racing Lando Norris. And where's Lando? Oh, he's the car in front. What about the car in front of him? What if I get past Lando? Who am I then fighting? Oh, he's all the way around the track now. Who's behind me? What tyres have they got on? How much am I going to have to defend against them? Why are we being told just about Verstappen? What's going on? This is all about a setup for a two-car shootout.
Okay, so we got Verstappen in P2 is about 4 cars behind you.
Isn't it strange, isn't it? That Fernando's race engineer is more concerned about telling Fernando where Max is, right, rather than the things that impact Fernando's chances in this race. So Max is 4 cars behind you, right? Because you're lapped relative to Lewis, but Max didn't lap you, right? Lewis is that fast that he lapped you, yeah? But Max never did.
Yeah, and he should be 2 cars in front of me.
Yes, and Max should be 2 cars in front of me. What are you talking about, Fernando? He hasn't lapped you. He never got to that stage. And the restart is when this running order has been sorted out. You are in, well, what are we on now? We're on the start of lap 56. I think Perez might have been retired now. Is Perez in the pits? Let's have a look at data view.
Sebastian.
Yes, Perez is in the pits, but because you haven't passed them pits yet, you're still showing as being in 9th position. When you pass the start-finish line, essentially passing Perez, that will elevate you up to 8th position. So with you being in 8th position, Fernando, you've just said that Max should be 2 cars ahead of you, which would be, ignore Perez, 1, 2. That would put him in either, depends whether you want to say there's 2 cars in between you and Max, or there's a car and then it's Max, with him being the second car. So if you're saying, oh, 2 cars being Norris and then Max, well, where's everybody else? Why are you ignoring the fact that you're saying that Verstappen should be 2 cars ahead of you? You're currently in 9th, be elevated to 8th, but when you this order and Perez gets removed out of it, Verstappen's not 2 cars ahead of you. Because Sainz is ahead of you, Bottas is ahead of you, Tsunoda's ahead of you, Gasly's ahead of you, Norris is ahead of you. So there's 5 cars in between you and Max. He is the 6th car ahead of you. You would think with his surplus, what has he got? What's he got? His most spare mental capacity. He'd be able to work that out.
Yeah, and he should be 2 cars in front of me.
It's not the way it works, Fernando. When you're in 8th and Max is 2nd, that's not just 2 cars in front of you. Why are you saying that Max needs to be 2 cars in front of you? Why are you only concerned about Max's position relative to Lewis Hamilton? Why are you not concerned about Carlos Sainz being in front of you as well? Valtteri Bottas being in front of you as well? Yuki Tsunoda being in front of you as well? Pierre Gasly being in front of you as well? Lando Norris being in front of you as well? No, it's just Max should be 2 cars in front of you, Fernando. Rather strange, isn't it?
So at the end of this lap, 2 laps remaining. Can we go to gain 9, please? Gain.
So we've got between now and the end of this lap for this unlapping procedure to be done. Because we know that once the last car has passed the leader, safety car returns to the pits at the end of the following lap, which is the end of lap 57, and that's the only way lap 58 can be raced. Otherwise, it's a safety car finish.
9, so 7 o'clock on a multifunction, gain 9. Okay. Brake temperatures look okay from our side now.
And what we're seeing now, Fernando, you're coming by there on lap 56, the crucial lap, and what are we seeing here? You're seeing men and women potentially in orange overalls on the track still. There they are, 1, 2, 3. See, 3 of them in orange overalls on the track. Ha ha ha, understood. Is what you said earlier in the lap, Fernando, when you were told that race control is not going to allow the unlapping. So now we're beginning lap 57. The unlapping has not taken place, which means it's a safety car finish. Simple as that. What does our experienced Fernando Alonso, with all his excess mental capacity, know?
Okay, so 2 more laps. We can do a bit more weaving for front warm-up.
Why are we doing weaving when the race isn't going to be resumed? Fernando's race engineer will know the rules and regulations. He'll know it's a safety car finish. What are they all complicit with?
Especially the front right looks a bit on the low side from our numbers.
Now, ahead of Fernando at the moment, the lights on the safety car have gone from orange to green. And again, Fernando Alonso, with his, because when he's driving, he's got the most spare mental capacity. He'll have seen that, okay? And he'll also know that the green light on the safety car would indicate that means that the lapped cars can now overtake. But also, what's got to happen is the messages have got to sent to all teams and drivers that this procedure is now going to take place.
Okay.
Safety car has the green light.
Yeah, you can.
Well done. Good excess mental capacity.
Overtake. So Norris is first. Okay.
Yeah, but this has to be done few laps ago.
Yeah, copy.
Unbelievable.
Let's keep the speed up because he might call the safety car in.
This had to be done a few laps ago. Unbelievable. Absolutely right there, Fernando.
Okay.
Yeah, but this has to be done few laps ago.
Yeah, copy.
Unbelievable.
Let's keep the speed up because he might call the safety car in this lap. Okay.
This is his race engineer. Keep the speed up because he might call the safety car in this lap. So this is lap 57. The procedure that the race engineer will know is that once the instruction has been given to these cars to pass the leader, the safety car returns to the pits at the end of the following lap. The race engineer is saying he might break the rules.
Yeah, safety car is in this lap, so...
Yeah, he is breaking the rules. Keep the speed up because he might call the safety car in this lap.
Okay, copy. So I can go flat out.
So I can go flat out, is what Fernando's now saying. Now, what Fernando also knows is the regulations are those cars that have been released should proceed around the track at an appropriate speed, making every effort to try and make it around the track and catch up with the back of the safety car snake, but without overtaking. That's the regulation. I can go flat out. The orange flag is still being waved. Now, keep your eye out for the marker boards around the side of the track.
So no overtaking yet?
No overtaking yet. We've got flashing yellows there. We're still under yellow conditions on the track.
Control line?
No overtaking until the control line. We've still got yellows. Still yellows. It doesn't show it very well there, but that is a yellow flashing light.
Recharge off?
That's a yellow flashing light up there. We're still under yellows. We're still under yellows. We're still under yellows. Now, what's the regulation? Oh, when you're under yellows, you've got to noticeably ease off the throttle. He's racing. We're still under yellows. We're still under yellows. And it's only now where yellows has gone out. It's only now. So you've just completed that part of the lap almost until turn 5 illegally. You were racing and you have to ease off because you're under yellows. Who said anything about that? I mean, Fernando, with his most spare mental capacity, you'd think would know, wouldn't you? You'd think would know. No, the thing is this the narrative for this coming season, Andrew? The reason why Fernando is always so good in Formula One is because he's got the most spare mental capacity, and that's why Fernando can adapt. The early word is that the drivers with the most spare mental capacity when driving, the likes of Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso, for example, will have an advantage as a result. So what's the advantage that Fernando's going to have this year? Well, he's driving an Aston Martin. Is it the Aston Martin's turn to win? Is that the way that they've played some clever cards, and now in this era, it's the Aston Martin's turn to win because Lance Stroll has played his clever cards, and it's Fernando Alonso's mental capacity. Oh, and it's Adrian Newey's genius, is it? You know, Adrian Newey's cheat devices that he puts on his cars because of his genius. It's going to be Aston Martin benefited from them this time with Adrian Newey's genius, because then Aston Martin will do an Adrian Newey designed Aston Martin road car that they'll be able to sell for £1 million a car because it's an Adrian Newey piece of genius again, all part of the marketing machine. Is that all part of this year's narrative or this era's narrative? Is that what you need to start sowing the seed for, Andrew? Let me know what you think in the comments section, Andrew Benson. Anyway, that'll do on this one. As you can see, it is not authentic. All of these communications between teams and drivers during that safety car period are not authentic because they're compliant with that bullshit narrative. But you wouldn't have heard it like that unless you've been to this channel. You'd have only heard the mashup that they created to present that it was all confusing and nobody really knew what was going on. Crazy shit. Anyway, thanks for your time.